To the Richmond staff, our families, and our players, we really are blood brothers, and I can't believe we've done it again.
Yeah, I'm going to get emotional and speak about this one.
I see a lot of the man that I would love to become, and outside of footy, that's probably what I love most about him.
If I was going to be absolutely frank, I sometimes think his value has been overlooked.
Did you guys know a lot?
We had maybe had a small identity crisis, really, and what do we look like without Alex?
He actually prepared a Guernsey for me. As the boys ran out, I put on a Guernsey, which felt pretty special.
I've got some bad news for you. Bad news, you have to jump on the plane. And the good news is that I'll be playing this week in the Granny.
I still can't believe we did it.
It almost felt like it was a Marlion Pickett debut game. It wasn't a grand final.
Soldo to Pickett. Whoa, what about that?
This bloke's making a mockery of the game.
I don't think I can swear on this, but I told him to effing kick the goal.
Just effing put it through, will you? And I said, well, thanks, mate. You make me feel a lot more calm now, haven't you?
And he's guided it through, and the Tigers struck the first blow.
It comes to a point where you're sort of just like, I'm not quite in that in a bit. I don't feel 100% what you feel.
Even around the club, you know, when the boys talk about it and you're like, oh, I'm not a part of that.
We still have 22 harmonicas.
I just thought we were unstoppable in 2019, and I thought these boys are not going to be denied this premiership this year.
And you can see with the smiles on our faces when we run out and go through the banner, you know, everyone's got a smile on their face because they're just so excited to be there on the big stage on grand final day.
It's a premiership masterpiece from the Tigers, all in yellow and black.
It's funny the lessons you learn, and you know we're a big club about, you know, we learn more from our losses than we do from our wins. So the gift we got from that 2018 prelim final, and people will hate me saying this, that Collingwood did give us a gift. It held us in good stead for season 2019.
Cox again. Oh, it's getting better. Oh, he's getting bigger and better.
I think at the back of our minds, you know, we probably didn't acknowledge it publicly much last year, but the back of our minds, I think we had the humiliation of the preliminary final loss to Collingwood spurring us on, which it should.
And tonight they have taken down the giant of the competition, the unbeatable team here at the MCG.
Collingwood will go into the 2018 grand final, a famous victory.
The boys are still on next year. It's going to be a great one. You know, I think it's going to be the year of redemption. I can't wait to tackle that.
Gee, what a story this could turn out to be.
Yeah, it was quite a traumatic period, the loss of Alex, because to us he was Superman.
Rance holding the right knee.
Yeah, that's a worry.
It was tough. You know, I saw the contest and then I didn't see anything else until the replay, and it didn't look good. And everyone knows the way players go down holding their leg, and it's not great when you see that. So you feared the worst, and the first part is just sadness.
It wasn't until I'd come off the ground, gone down into the under the rooms with the doc, the reality had set in. And it was kind of a bit lonely in there because it's a pretty small white room where it's just you and the doc and your thoughts. It was then that I was told that my season could be over.
It did take us 2 or 3 weeks to get over it. I think the week later against Collingwood was probably one of our worst performances, and we sort of had to sit down and talk about how we're going to live without Alex and life without Alex, and look through all the options. And I still think it took us a month or so to probably figure that out. What is the perfect way to go forward without him?
Yeah, there was a lot of umming and ahhing, you know, even us as players, as leaders of the football club, we had some doubt. You know, so we're not going to shy away from that. We did have some doubt because we highly regard Alex as the general. You know, I'm so pleased with the way that he attacked it, addressed it. He came in on the Monday after receiving the worst news possible, and he spoke about ACL meaning more than just doing your knee to him. And he mentioned the words, always celebrate and laugh. And if you can put that aside and find perspective in what he had done, I think it's a fantastic strength to have, but it also helped the group just accept it is what it is.
They've got a mantra, largely it is, go and have fun. That's what the players tell each other, what the coach says.
This is mighty on the road without their big four. How have they done it? Damien Hardwick, the proudest man right now in the country.
Yeah, they were coming hard, but it's a great effort by our lads.
Yeah, like a proud dad at the moment, aren't you?
I am. Looking forward to a beer.
You know, I sit there and I look at our players, and you know, the lessons I've learned over the course of my term at the Richmond Footy Club is the more fun you have, the more relaxed the players are going to be, and they're going to perform at their very best.
Sydney Stack just sat him down.
Well, there's something we haven't seen before. Sydney Stack, what an influence that man has had on the Richmond Footy Club in a short space of time.
When I was coming here, Jack said, you're going to have fun and you'll enjoy coming to work every day. And it's quite a unique thing to tell someone.
We couldn't promise him the world. We couldn't promise him a premiership. We couldn't promise him that he'd go and play finals and whatnot, but we could promise him that he would have fun.
It often resembles an episode of Seinfeld, if I'm perfectly honest, but it gets results for us. It's not going to say it's going to work for any other side, but, you know, we've just found that having fun, enjoying each other's company, embracing everyone's imperfections, but more importantly, acknowledging what their strengths are as a player and as a person, gets the very best out of our footy club.
Fast rushing into premiership contention here, the Tigers.
We've always had a philosophy about there's a contenders versus the pretenders, generally in August, you know, July, sort of August, really from that point of view. Every week I reckon there's a contender stands up and a pretender falls away, and that's where you start to find out that the sides that are really going to challenge. And you know, we have what we call Big Boy Month, which is a 4-week block of a period of tough games. It always seems to occur around that month that we build up quite highly in.
They didn't concede the behind, and now they might concede a goal. Rewold! Tigers by 6. Doesn't get any better, Rui.
Big Boy Month's been around for a few years now, and Dimmer loves pumping it up, and usually it comes at that back end of the season where there's games against other contenders and other finals-bound sides that are what the football traditionalists would say 8-point games.
Had it lost it, Gardner good, handball wide, Martin, brute strength, Dustin Martin at the Richmond end of the ground. How good is Dustin Martin?
Then we thought we'd extend it. Look, obviously to make the top 4, we had to win all those games, and then we just went from, you know, Big Boy Month would then become Bigger Boy Month into the finals campaign.
Martin, can he go with 6? Bending, yes he can! The Tigers are through to their 3rd prelim final in a row.
One of the girls said, oh, I've got a heap of rocks in my driveway. What do you want them for? She, don't worry about what we want them for, but you've got them in your driveway. She goes, yeah, I need to get them out anyhow, so I'll bring them in for you.
Yeah, the rocks. Well, the rocks was going to be, you know, grand final. Obviously, I wanted to make it reasonably special. Peter Burge is a good mate of mine, be my head of strength and conditioning for a long period of time, and you know, I was sort of looking for that story to tell, and it sort of veered from one story into another about my memory of Peter. And you know, we were doing Kokoda together, and on the last day, Peter's father had died quite young, but meant a lot to him. And you know, he got this rock, about 5 kilo rock, and put in his pack, and dedicated that hill that he was going to climb to his dad. Now, Burgee was useless on every other hill in Kokoda, but by God, that hill, you know, because he was driven by a greater purpose, he went up straight away.
The message behind it was, it's easy to do things for yourself, but what's harder is to do things for other people. And the theme of the day was, who did you want to dedicate the game to?
You had to write on it sort of and reflect on it, like why you play the game and who you play the game for, because a lot of guys come from different backgrounds and have different reasons for playing football.
We had to write on the rock someone that we're doing it for, and I wrote my brother's name, Kim, because he's someone that takes as much pride in my footy as what I do.
And I remember putting my wife's name on it and my 2 kids because I wanted to, sacrifice that moment for them and, show my appreciation.
My rock was to my grandfather, probably my idol growing up as a kid. He passed away when I was 13 years of age from cancer.
Yeah, on my rock, it was Danielle, my wife, and my family have, had incredible journey with me through good and bad.
My first thought was to write my old man's name on it. I think one of my most treasured moments was after the game in the rooms, giving him the rock that said his name on it, and why I dedicated the game to him was a life memory that I'll never forget. Probably the best gift Dimmer could have given me.
Fantastic. I remember walking out and seeing the players write the names on their rocks and thinking about the people that had helped them along the journey, and I sort of knew then that I thought we were going to have a good day.
I think a lot of the boys wrote about their family. A few of the boys put Jack Graham on their rock and the amazing effort he did in that prelim final.
Yeah, I wrote my family and Fridge Graham just because of our close relationship through the midfield and, the really challenging way in which he missed another opportunity to play in a grand final.
Dimmer come to me, wrapped his arms around me, gave me a hug and said that was pretty special. So did all the boys and all the coaches, but everyone kind of knew, geez, he's not looking that good for next week, and I knew.
Graham is in all sorts of trouble.
He should be a 2-time premiership player. Unfortunately, he isn't. He just did what he needed to do to get us over the line.
I think the reality is that without him, gritting his teeth and going back on field, which I think the coaching staff actually requested him not to keep playing because it was so bad. For him to put his hand up, or sort of put his hand up, is pretty inspirational.
Graham tackling okay with that shoulder. And a magnificent contest. 21 points down at half-time. They pick themselves up, the Tigers, and they get to a second grand final in 3 seasons.
Cotch actually sent me a message the night before saying, hey mate, I want you to be down in the rooms before we run out. And I was thinking, oh, all right, geez, hope he doesn't get me to say anything. I'll be a bit nervous. But he actually prepared a Guernsey for me. So as the boys ran out, I put on a Guernsey, which felt pretty special. Not many people know about this, but it made me feel a part as a team. And that's why Cotch is such a great leader and captain, because he cares so much about every single player. It was pretty nice. I think I might even shedded a tear. But it was a pretty special moment, and as much as I wasn't going to be playing with the boys, I definitely felt a part of it.
I just trying my best to understand what he may or may not have been going through mentally. I just wanted to share as much of the journey or the day or my day with him. He's a ripper kid. He's been so impressive since being at the footy club, and effectively just wanted him to feel as much a part of it as possible.
Marlion Pickett is going to be the first man since 1952 to make his debut in a VFL AFL grand final.
It was a risk, absolutely it was, but, we thought about it long and hard, and we picked Marlion Pickett to play his first game. I still can't believe we did it.
I was told that Thursday, so I was doing meditation in here. Then, one of the coaching staff come in. I thought he was looking for a pillow, so I offered him a pillow. Then he asked me to step outside. So I stepped outside, then we walked into the coach's room. Then I seen Dusty and Cotchin sitting there with Dimmer, so I started scratching my head. Then I sat down and Dimmer said, oh, you're in our best 24 this week. But then he said, you're in our best 22, so you're playing this week, mate. Congrats.
I was actually lucky enough to be in the room when Dimmer told Marlion that he was going to play. Yeah, and I just can't fathom what would have been going through his head. It was a pretty special moment. Yeah, it was just, I feel it was Yeah, I feel it lifted the group because of the whole story and his story. But he deserved it. He'd been playing so well.
I was in the boardroom and Brenda came through and he said, "Oh, can I talk to you for a minute?" And he said, "You won't believe it, they've just picked Marlion." He was overwhelmed, and he said, "It may be the biggest story of my time in football that Marlion gets to debut." And I said, "Well, I think I've lost my breath a minute too, but Brenda, don't start crying now. We still have a grand final to go."
He's a 27-year-old man with 4 kids. He spent 2 years in jail. This is like the great sports movies. This is like Field of Dreams.
He made a terrible mistake early on in his life, but he's the poster boy for being able to get your life back on track, to then play in an AFL Grand Final, be a life member of the Richmond Football Club. There's no greater fairy tale.
I remember sitting in the car with Adam Kingsley and looking at him go, "Do you think Marlion could play next week?" Coming off a 6-day break, barely played any footy for us. I've just pulled Jack Ross and Camden McIntosh out of a VFL Grand Final, so they're a chance of not playing at all. And that's where it all started.
Dimmer came to me on Monday after we won the Grand Final and basically said, can Marlion play Grand Final day? Is he ready? And all I can show you is the times when he wanted to put his hand up and say, "I'm the guy." But no one can really know that he's ready for that big occasion like he was.
Obviously, his life up until being at the Richmond Football Club has been really challenging. But then even this year, he went through some different challenges that most people wouldn't bounce back from. And I think that's the incredible thing. He's had to find a way that not many, if any, have to get his opportunity at AFL, and then the way that the story pans out is just phenomenal.
We've overcome adversity. We're here. Now can't wait to see Marlion play so hard.
It almost felt like it was a Marlion Pickett debut game. It wasn't a grand final. It was because of Marlion's debut, and we were so rapt for him and the way he's been playing. We're so excited to see him play. We love seeing our debutants, see how they come up and handle it and play, and we'll help them and things like that. But I'm not going to say it felt like a grand final second after Marlion's debut game, but it definitely took some of the edge off of the game.
The team backed me in, so I felt at home with the footy stuff. And yeah, just footy's footy. Doesn't matter if I'm playing amateurs, waffle or AFL, just I enjoy footy. Doesn't matter where it is or what level it is.
I'm amazed. I am amazed. Gee, it's an ask. It's a big ask, and it has to have some risk attached to it. The flip side is if he does a couple of things early, they'll raise the roof.
Whoa, what about that?
Pickett has made a mark already, hasn't he?
Hasn't looked out of place at all.
I took the mark and I was walking back and I turned around and I kind of seen him out the corner of my eye, and I just gave him a little nod and just popped it out there. And it gives me chills thinking about that moment when he kicked that goal. It was fantastic.
Martin looks to centre the football, and he's been able to find what could be the redemption story of Australian rules football. Marlion Pickett right in front and 35 out.
If he kicks this will be one of the great roars in grand final history. Marlion Pickett lines up.
That is something special, and it might be the most spectacular get-around of the year.
One of the great footy stories ever.
I actually was borderline crying when he kicked that goal, just from pure emotion. And the story, the ability for arguably the best player in the competition to go out of his way to kick that ball to a bloke in his first game I'm so proud of just the club for that reason.
That's for my brother-in-law, so probably like a month beforehand, month or two, he passed away back home. So it is hard times moving over here, leaving missus and their kids back home, grieving. But I'm over here living my dreams, so is one of my #1 fans.
Yeah, I'm going to get emotional speaking about this one. Trent's probably a guy that his journey is very much like mine. You know, we travelled together. We had some rough patches along the way, and then we sort of got through it. But You know, his season 2019 was incredibly difficult. You know, he'd had another baby, that was his third. He had 3 hamstring injuries. We weren't sure whether he was going to get back at all and play. I was really worried for him that if he did it again, that would be season over. Even the third one, we were really worried. And, you know, there's special players that do special things, and this guy does that. He single-handedly has turned this club around, and he gets the credit from within our 4 walls, and I think he's starting to get it outside. But he's been an incredible, you know, person to coach. He's an incredible man. He's an incredible player. He'll go down one of the all-time greats of our footy club, I've no doubt about it.
Kick to Cotchin, superb in the corridor.
Go on your
he
own.
plays on with a bounce, runs to 50. This would bring the house down. A captain's goal.
How sweet it is, eh?
Every Richmond player gets to Richmond's inspirational leader.
That jump to me was quite iconic. I sit there and there was no picture of it, but I remember watching it on the replay and I thought, I wish there was a picture of it because it meant so much to us as a footy club. I was worried about his hamstrings at the same time, like you were saying, but it's probably one of my favourite moments from the grand final.
Well, in 2017, it was early in the third quarter and you feel the momentum go. But in 2019, about 10 minutes into the second quarter, I said, I think we can relax now. And Brendan's going, no, we can't. No, we can't.
I said, whoa, karma, gods, footy gods. But she was, in hindsight, she was right.
Doubling around Martin. He didn't want the body contact. He kept the body free. The pickup's unbelievable. That's the play of the game. That is the play of the game.
They are just so watchable. So they're hugely admirable. And they play in such a way that it is so pleasing.
It's Tiger time. 11 straight goals.
What a celebration. What a team. And what a margin.
I'm not sure we've seen a group play with such spirit and togetherness in a long period of time.
As soon as they ratcheted it up at the start of the second quarter and the Giants couldn't go with them. They got jumpy and they go, oh, we've seen this before. And they got gored from there.
Blake Carousella with 10 minutes to go said to Dimmer, do you want to go down on the bench? Tim was like, there's 10 minutes to go, Blake. What do you want me to do down there? It was a weird situation of being so far in front on that big stage, but, you know, no one really knew how to behave.
George tries to attack the footy. Martin able to pick it up and turns around the corner and Dusty just nails another one home for the Tigers.
Yeah, it was actually pretty similar spot to 2017 when the siren went, because Jack come up to me and he goes, get near me, there's only 1 second to go. And so we made sure we were close to each other, because 2017, me, him and Grigor made sure we were near each other when the siren went, and me and Jack did the same thing again this year, so it was very special.
The Tigers are premiers for the 12th time in their history.
It's a premiership masterpiece from the Tigers. All in yellow and black. The siren sounds. Richmond are premiers.
This year I've done a bit more reflecting in knowing that there's guys that have missed out, and the ability for the club to try and get everyone involved that has played a part, whether they're a player or a staff member or coach or whatever it is been probably the sole focus of the leadership group, to make sure that there's no stone unturned and everyone understands that it is a whole club cup, really. It's the medals are there and they only hand out 22 of them, but when it comes down to it, when the cup is engraved, it will have won by Richmond there.
This year I made a significant effort to actually hold back and watch the boys do their lap of honour and so forth. And that was really quite a humbling experience for me. You know, I had my kids on the field, I just made a mental note of from 2017 just to really just take more of it in, and you just realise how much it means to now Richmond people. And
how big is this, that this is now a dynasty at Punt Road?
Yeah, well, we did, in fairness, we probably did speak about that at the start of the year, and we sort of went through a bit of a journey about, listen, the sides can still have dynasties, but they might lose one along the way. We looked at examples, San Antonio Spurs, the Detroit Red Wings, those sort of sides that had been a really good side but had, a bad day. And it's easy to sit here in hindsight and say it was, but I think we had absolute belief that we could get back and play to the very best of our ability from, our pre-season camp this year.
I don't like to use the word shocked, but I'm still, I can't come to terms that we've just won the premiership. Having so many players go down, and then, slowly bringing them back in, it was just special to see, us just getting the job done, and ultimately, winning the greatest prize ever.